Well, that was me up in the mountain just a few days ago. I'd been up there for about the third time maybe in a row because I decided I needed to pick up my game. I'll show you what I mean. In this week last year, I did 158.6 kilometres with 6,800 metres of elevation. And that with 2 rest days. At the moment, I'm sitting on maybe about 110 kilometres a week with maybe close to 3,000 metres of elevation. So what I decided to do was to try to replicate what we did in this week this time last year. And what we did was normally have a couple of runs during the week, some intervals as well as a couple of short runs, and then towards the end of the week 3 long runs back to back. And so Friday was usually around about 2.5 hours, sometimes a bit longer. Saturday was around about 5 to 6 and Sunday was 6 to 7. This week was going to be a little bit different because I only decided pretty late in the week to try to replicate what we did last year. And I'd already done on Monday the 11 kilometres, Tuesday I think was 10 miles roughly, 16 kilometres, and Wednesday was 17 kilometres with FloNo. So I had a bit of a rest day on the Thursday and then started off on Friday with a run up the mountain. Friday was looking pretty good. There was already a light covering of snow up high. But by the time I made it up to the summit, the forecasted strong winds had hit. I decided not to film much, wanting to concentrate more on the running, but over on Mount Arthur there was just enough of a wind shadow down low to get the drone out for a short flight before heading back down. Well, the first day, the shortest of the 3, had gone pretty well. I'd used the same nutrition strategy that we'd used last year, which we'd gotten from this book, The Feed Zone Portables, which I'll maybe show you towards the end of the video. And it meant no breakfast, essentially just water, and then polenta cakes, which had gone really well for us last year. And this year I found them really great too, very sustaining. Overnight then the weather worsened. There was a pretty intense storm up on the mountain. Hadn't stopped me last year, so I headed back up again. I got a couple of loops up on the summit. Again, I didn't film anything really all that much because it looked like this and wasn't really all that conducive to filming. But in the end I finished up with around about 32 kilometres and I think 1,740 metres of elevation. A bit less than I was hoping for. I'd been hoping for the 45 or so that I'd done last year. I think a bit over 2,000 metres of elevation, but I was still pretty happy with that and I was looking forward to being able to make up for it on the next day. The recovery was pizza and a beer, and by the next morning the legs were feeling better than expected. The weather had improved too. The sun had come out and there was still a good covering of snow up there, but the winds had really died down. So I grabbed just one GoPro and a handful of polenta cakes and headed back up the mountain to see whether I could make up for yesterday. Peaceful than it was yesterday. Blue skies, bit of wind there. I think it'll probably be windy at the top, but I can't believe I'm the first person to go up Panorama today. Amazing. Well, it looks like I wasn't the first up here after all. Looks like a kangaroo beat me to it. an absolutely brilliant day in the mountain, actually 3 brilliant days on the mountain. But in the end, I think I fell short of the mileage I needed. I think I just wanted to head home and spend some time with the family rather than head up to the summit again for another loop. I hit my elevation target of 6,500 roughly, but I was about 20 kilometres short of the 100 miles that I'd done last year. So I think I learned 3 main lessons out of the whole thing. The first thing was the nutrition was absolutely spot on. Those polenta cakes were exactly what I needed. Sustained energy all the way through to the end. I didn't need any gels for the whole 3 days. It was absolutely brilliant. And I'll show you how we made those again in a minute. Second thing is the trekking poles were better than I'd remembered, particularly on the 3rd day. I don't think they would have been necessary on the first 2 days, but heading up the Breakneck and Panorama for the 2nd time on the 3rd day, I noticed that they really did help going up some of the bigger steps. And the 3rd thing was that this ultra beard experiment has been a complete failure, I think. You know, there's no other way to put it. I fell short of my mileage this year. Last year I managed it no problem, so I think it's really got to go. So as much as I'd like to be able to continue on with this experiment, I think, you know, it's time to admit defeat, so let's get rid of it.
Yay!
Alrighty, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Did it work?
No!
Alright, hang on. Try again. Did it work?
No. What? Huh? It's better.